Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Vinland Saga. We're now on episode 21 of season 1, which is called Reunion. I cannot imagine who we're reuniting with at this point because Lord knows Thorfinn's nowhere near home. Anyways, in the last episode, we see that the prince met up with his dad and brought his new crew to meet them. Dad basically said, I want you to surrender any claim to the throne, take this offer I'm giving you and never come back. But Canute said, nah, I think I should be rewarded instead because I got you Thorkel, who is giving you trouble with London. So they're going to be having a dinner feast coming up in another town. Yeah, they're going to another town. They're going to throw a feast and Dad says, I'm going to give you your reward there. That's very ominous to me. But anyways, that's where we're at. Basically, we're just going to wait out this game of chicken and egg to see who's going to be the one to strike first as far as making a plot on the king. So I'm ready to find out what this episode's about. Let's jump in. But just before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know of when I drop episodes, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. 多くの奴隷がヨーロッパ全土に供給され、バイキングたちは That's why I'm not sad y'all got taken down when you did. Oh, boy, I didn't recognize him. Sorry about that, bro. It's been so long since I've seen you. Plus you had hair. Oh, it's the king coming? Yeah, I'd get your dinghy out of the way if I were you. You don't know about this head covering, Canute. I don't. These fashion choices. Oh, reunion, so is he gonna recognize Thorfinn? I don't think Thorfinn's gonna care though. That kid's not the same kid anymore. Really, Thorkel? Thorkel's not going over there. Damn! What are you up to, Askeladd? Is it? Thorfinn's perpetually unimpressed face. I can't. Daijo? Askeladd leaves no loose ends. Except for this one. Is Thorfinn gonna recognize him? Why are you yelling at me? He's like, I have a broken arm. I can't use a crossbow. Seriously, how am I going to shoot a crossbow with a broken arm? Please, explain. That's not helping your case, bro. Homie is like, can someone help me? I just got clocked. It's better you pretend you don't know him. Recognize him yet? Yeah, he had more hair. That's why I got thrown off. Please don't stab him, Thorfinn. It's a natural reaction. What poor woman got sacrificed for this plot? I should have known. Askeladd looked way too chill. Askeladd knew that there was going to be someone who was going to try to do it. Or Askeladd did it. One or the other. I can't tell yet. Respectfully, you look like a woman. No. Straight through the heart, bro. Are you? You're no better. You're no better than your father. Oh, squint all you want. Sure, sure. Sure, sure.
幼い子供が戦場を生き延
He's
びて
not a child anymore. That's long gone.
もう村の一つも作ったかい。
Bro, no. I've been living
な
here.
ぜ残してきた母と姉の
Thank you! Thank you!
ヘルガの具合は一
He
層
doesn't
悪くなっ
care.
た。薬だ。
俺はフィンランドのことを聞いてんだよ。
I don't care about the woman who nearly died birthing me.
あの日から今日までの俺の何を知ってるってんだ。
Your choice.
野郎が生きて飯を食い腐されてる間は十分じゃねえ。十分じゃねえ。
Yeah. Do you realize now that kid's dead?
あの陽気だった幼子が
He was always a bit of a badass, though. Not even a good, like, not like a badass isn't cool, but like, bad.
命がけの報酬にしちゃ狭い部屋だ。
That's what you get for taking magic mushrooms.
そうか。なら明日。わかった。
I don't think you're making it through the night, pal. But I appreciate the optimism.
アシェラットか。やりおる
I'm
な。
glad the king knows that his game is against Askeladd.
わざわざ次男の方を狙うってこと。
あんたら、
おお。
それについちゃちょっと面白い話があるんだ
Oh, we got a rumor spreader?
ま、あくまで噂程度の話。
噂を流すだけじゃダメだ。あの演出があって初めて。
But the fact that a woman had to die
で広が
for
る。
this. Just saying.
明日の会議にこれがどう影響するかな。
The heads in that family.
民の己に対する悪評は捨ておけんでしょう。子殺しなんてのは特にね。
Really, I feel like that's just the Dane's way, right? Just another Tuesday.
今後二度と私の身代わりを立てることは許さん。
はあ、申し訳ございません。
Askeladd will do whatever he wants.
お話が一段落したようですので、私はちょっと用足しへ。
Follow him.
グンナル殿を信用してはなりま
Thank
せん。
you. Too much. Even I can't trust that guy.
なぜそう思う？根拠を
I mean, besides the fact that he's overdoing it right now.
グンナルが来るなら今の話を今夜中に伝えるでしょう。確認のためトルフィンに尾行させていま
That's
す。
what I thought.
患者からの情報なら信用し安心する。当面の争いを避けるにはお互いの了解が必要です。
Information is definitely the most valuable weapon in a war. No doubt.
王の家か。どいつも騙し合いに夢中か。
Yeah, welcome to
それが
politics.
戦士のやることか。
No, you're a pawn as a warrior. That's all. If you wanted to kill Askeladd, you could have done it already, bro. He's literally wounded.
ってわけかトルフィン。
I guess you're both wounded. Makes it fair.
私がやめろと言ったら決闘は終わりだ。
That's not the rules.
始めよ。
Oh, he wants to die fighting. Right. Valhalla.
俺だけじゃねえ。あんたは死んだ仲間たちも自分自身でさえも
Oh, you're smarter than you look.
あんたと友達になりたかったんだよ。
He doesn't make friends with Danes. But thanks for trying. Oh, the silence. Cheap shot.
アシェラッドあんたと友達
Sure. We're buddies. Stabby stabby.
お前は俺のたった一人の友達だ。
Whatever you need to hear, bro. The pupil dilation. The attention to art detail.
さて待たせたな小僧。来い。遊んでやる。
Such a waste of time. We all know that both of them are walking away from this battle, so it's just stupid. Anyway, I guess Thorfinn's got a new fire lit under him because he saw, now that he's seen Leif and a reminder of that life he lived before, I think that and the fact that Leif asked him some very pointed questions, he's now once again, hopefully feeling rightfully guilty about the fact that there are people out there who love him and are worried about him, and he's been on this one-man pursuit of a very I don't want to diminish the goal because I understand it. I really and truly do, but it's childish. And Thorfinn is no longer a child. He's not an adult yet, but he's not a child. But anyhow, I'd say, yeah, the main things to focus on in this episode were the whole fake out by Askeladd was very smart. He knew that the king was going to try something at the banquet. Like I said, reward he was going to offer. Yeah, okay, that was a little bit too ominous of a term for what he was planning. So thankfully, Askeladd already knew that there was most likely going to be an attempt on the prince's life. However, as I said in the episode, I don't agree with him. That poor woman who was already a slave, so that sucked. And then she had to be sacrificed for this stupid plan. Like, you could have given her armor. You could have given her something. Like, you know, you had the means to protect her potentially, at least in the body, from dying from an attack. But just obviously, once again, Askeladd proving that life means nothing to him for the most part. But anyhow, it was good to hear at least that the prince was not a fan of that. Like, I think he knew the plan, which is why I can't be 100% like, oh, he's not that bad. Like, if he knew that someone was going to have to be a double for him and sacrifice their life, I'm not okay with it. But I mean, I'm glad he at least feels some level of remorse over the fact that it happened. He said he doesn't want it to happen again. So hopefully Askeladd will listen, but knowing him, he will do whatever he wants. Askeladd's not much for taking orders himself. He does what he wants to do and asks for, he's one of those people who asks for forgiveness over permission. So anyway, that happened. And of course, in the course of all of that, I did not even realize that was Leif. That we've been seeing. Like, we saw him a couple of episodes ago and I had no idea who he was, because again, the hair, that was a big thing, is the loss of hair. I love that the episode showed the old Leif versus the one now. And like, okay, I'm like, thank goodness I wasn't so wrong in not recognizing the animation. But anyway, understandably for Leif, he of course had no idea if Thorfinn was alive or dead. I think at this point, since it's been over 10 years, everyone for the most part is assuming that he's gone. I mean, they don't want to. There was probably a teeny sliver of hope that he wasn't, but understandable that the odds were definitely not in Thorfinn's favor. So understandably, he was very emotional and happy to see that Thorfinn had survived all this time, but he also recognized just by looking at Thorfinn that it has not been a has not been an easy ride. It's been very hard, very taxing on him, because he doesn't look like the irregular, like, the only thing that lets you know that Thorfinn is young is his size and generally his face, but that's not the look of a child. That's not the look of a typical 16-year-old. That is a very hardened and wizened face that he's got going on. And so we see that Leif rightly said, like, I need to just not think about who he was, right? Because you see in the moment, I love that they did that twice in the episode, once with Leif showing him as young Leif, old Leif, and then Leif thinking of young, bubbly Thorfinn, and now this angry, you know, just very sharp looking kid. And I like that he just basically realized he has to let go of the Thorfinn that he remembered, because that would have been the last time he saw Thorfinn was as a child, and realized that this kid in front of him is a completely different person. But I don't think he recognized the kind of person that Thorfinn has become, because we see that he's like, you're not asking me about, because Thorfinn, he asked about Vinland, right? He asked about his dad's vision of whatever the dream place is. And of course, Leif is not gone there, right? I know Leif talked about it when he was a kid, but Leif's a trader. Like, he was just a trader who went between Iceland and Denmark. He wasn't really somebody who was out there looking to discover new lands. And so, of course, Thorfinn would remember that. But anyways, he basically asks Thorfinn the question I've been asking, as you've been probably noticed for like at least 5 or 6 episodes now. Why are you not asking about your mom and sister? The rest of your remaining living family? Why are you not asking about them? Why would that not be the first question that came out of your mouth at seeing somebody who has contact with your family? And, you know, Thorfinn, of course, is like, oh, I didn't ask you about that. Don't tell me about them. And you hear Leif say that her health got even worse, which understandably, she thought she lost her husband and son in one fell swoop. And so, and then again, he didn't even get a chance to talk about Ylva. Although I'm thinking that from what we saw of her, she's probably doing okay. She's most likely, my guess is she's taking care of her mother. She might have potentially gotten married by this point. I mean, we know every guy in the village wanted her, but she may not have if she wanted to focus on taking care of her mom. But anyway, we see that Thorfinn basically is like, I don't want to hear about it. Don't talk to me about it. And Leif tries to get him to come home. He's like, please come with me. We can go back to Iceland. You can see your mom. I think he's trying to let Thorfinn know that his mom does not have a ton of time left, especially if her health is failing. But Thorfinn basically, he'd already explained to him that the reason he stayed with Askeladd all this time is to get his revenge. And Thorfinn just basically said, I'm not leaving. It's never going to be okay for him to leave until he takes out Askeladd with his father's knife. And I'm like, okay, bro. And even Leif's like, you know, so anyways, he tells Thorfinn he won't leave until Thorfinn changes his mind. And I think that's, like I said in the beginning of this review, what pushed Thorfinn to want another duel now, even though he's still hurt. And Askeladd is not at full strength either. But I do think that despite the way he yelled at Leaf, I think his conscience is bothering him. And I do think, as I said last episode, I do think he thinks of his parents or his sister and his mom, but it's too painful for him to handle because I think it's just a cycle of guilt with this kid, right? He feels like he's responsible for his dad's death, and he also feels like he's the one who's responsible for getting revenge because he feels like if he goes home, his mom and his sister are going to blame him for his father's death, and that's something he doesn't want to face. For him, it's easier to just believe that they're going to be okay until he does what he thinks he needs to do, and then maybe he might go back. But I have the sneaking suspicion that even if he does take, he won't, but even if he did take out Askeladd in this duel, he's not going to want to go home, right? I feel like there's still a part of him that also thinks that like the amount of things he's done now in this short amount of time, but the fact that he's been part of this war and just part of so many things that his father was clearly against, I think that he maybe feels like he can't go home. Like they're not going to accept him for who he is now either. So anyway, very sad in one sense, but I do hope that at least I know he's not going to go back with Leaf. I shouldn't say I know. I feel like 80% certain he's not going to go back with him, but I do hope he at least sends word. His family deserves to know that he's okay, but at the same time, like I said in the episode, maybe it's better Leaf doesn't tell them, because if he's not willing to come home, that's almost as bad. You know, like to hear that your son's alive, but he has no desire to come home and didn't even ask about you, that could be really painful too. But no, I take it back though. I'm not a parent myself, but all the parents I've ever met have always said that the idea of not knowing if your child's alive or dead is worse than knowing the worst. So maybe Leif will just have to go back and tell them that he is in fact alive, but he's choosing not to come home. And at least Helga will have the peace of knowing that her child is alive, even if she can't be with him. So anyways, we'll have to see. But outside of that, we see that the whole assassination attempt thing, as I mentioned, was all Askeladd's plan. And it was basically to paralyze the king as far as the moves he could make against Canute. He's like, now if he does anything, everyone in the town, like his constituents and his military, are going to think that the king is shady and they're not going to trust him. So he's not going to do anything for now, but that doesn't mean we sit on our laurels. Like that's just going to give us enough breathing room to come up with a plan of how we're going to take him out. So basically they're trying to figure that out, and it's a chess match. And like I said, I really like that in the episode we see that the king is realizing that he's playing this chess match with Askeladd, not with his son. Although I don't think he should write off Canute either. But as far as experience and the level of thinking 5 moves ahead, that's not Canute. Even now, that's not Canute. So the king recognizes that it's definitely not coming from his son. But yeah, I guess this high-level game of chess is going to continue with those two. And we'll have to see how all the pawns move as they're being pulled by these two opposing forces. But that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. I enjoyed it a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.